Some wrestlers are not happy that the news broke today that Tessa Blanchard is indeed returning to TNA. Now, this was broken by PW Insider and the Wrestling Observer newsletter, and I'm taking this one directly from Fightful. As was written about earlier, Tessa Blanchard is poised for a return to TNA as early as next month. This news has not been met with overwhelming happiness. It's been met with disbelief and concern from many within the wrestling community, including talent at AEW and within WWE. The news about Blanchard's TNA return was first reported by the Wrestling Observer newsletter and then followed up by Fightful with added notes about reactions from people within the industry. Now, Blanchard's departure from TNA in 2020 was marred by allegations of racial slurs and bullying behavior, making her a very controversial figure in the pro wrestling space. Now, while she and victim here in this story, La Rosa Negra, the alleged target of racial slurs, they have been photographed together in recent years, but there has been no public apology from Tessa Blanchard herself. The decision to bring Blanchard back reportedly comes from a top person in Anthem, the parent company of TNA, despite warnings from others within the organization. The news has been kept quiet to avoid internal backlash, as many remain uncomfortable with Tessa's past actions. The current plan is for Blanchard to return as a heel and quickly win the Knockouts World Championship from Jordynne Grace, who has reportedly resisted working with Blanchard. Some speculate that TNA is bringing in Blanchard to compensate for the potential departures of top stars like Speedball Mike Bailey, Jordynne Grace, and Josh Alexander. Now, Blanchard's return is a gamble, a huge gamble for TNA. While her talent is undeniable, says Fightful, her past behavior has made her a very divisive figure. It remains to be seen whether she can successfully navigate this new chapter in her career. Whether TNA can manage the potential fallout of her return remains to be seen. Oh my God, man, there's a lot to unpack there. I know a lot of people are already going to have a decision made on what they are going to say and what they're going to think about Tessa Blanchard. The one thing from this story that really jumped off the page to me is the fact that a top person in Anthem, the parent company to TNA, despite warnings from others within the organization, still went ahead and did the deed to bring in Tessa Blanchard. And then the news was kept quiet to avoid internal backlash, as many remain uncomfortable with Blanchard's past actions. So they hired somebody. This is what I don't get. They hired somebody who worked there previously, went and ran away from all of her problems, and lived and wrestled in Mexico. The news was kept quiet to avoid internal backlash. So you're bringing in someone with the notion and the idea that you know it's not going to go over well, but you're doing it anyway. And you're going to upset your roster, and you don't care that you're upsetting your roster. Many within the organization don't like this decision. You're just going to go ahead and do it anyway. I don't really understand how a decision like that, you bring that decision to higher ups and they say, you know, that's a good idea, man. Let's go and do that. I don't really get it. Are the people running Anthem, are the people who are running TNA, respect the people that are working on their weekly television show? Apparently not. If I'm an employee there and I have a problem with this, a big problem with this, I'm fucking pissed. I'm going to do and think what I want, and I'm going to make the appropriate adjustments and the proper adjustments to what happens with my future when my contract is up. Why do I want to stay with people that clearly don't give a shit about our well-being, don't give a shit about what we say, and just go and do these decisions when there's an overwhelming majority of people that don't want this decision to be made? I don't get it. They just do what they do because they're looking to scrape whatever notoriety they can, and they want to be a bigger player than they really are. And they feel like going the controversial route is the best way to do that. I don't really have a problem with Tessa as far as a professional performer. I think she's great. She's fantastic. Probably one of the best women's wrestlers in the entire world. I am all for giving someone a second chance. Always. The problem with this is everybody, I wouldn't say everybody, but a good majority of people would have given Tessa a second chance if she did one thing that she was supposed to do that she did not do in 2020. All she needed to do was give a public, genuine, heartfelt, sincere apology. And that's it. That's all she needed to do. She could have still did what she did. She still could have went to Mexico, live in Mexico, work in Mexico, and just be out of the public eye. But all you should have done before any of that other shit happened was give a public apology and have it come off as genuine and sincere. At that point, it would live on to where we see her now and see this situation now. We'd look back at that, and it would be up to you, the wrestling fan, up to you, the viewer, to say, you know what? I'm willing to give Tessa Blanchard a second chance. I think she's great. We all deserve a second chance. I believe she's heartfelt and sincere in her apology. You would have had a lot of those people. And it would have been completely up to you to say, you know what? I heard the apology. I'm going to make a decision myself, and I am not really going to accept her apology. I want nothing to do with Tessa Blanchard. That would have been fine. That would have been your opinion. Completely up to you, man. But at least it would have been out there. At least it would have been out there. At least it would have been out there for the roster and the locker room that she's just going to walk right into. You're walking into a locker room that doesn't like the situation, that doesn't like you, and now you're walking into a locker room without a public apology. How things would be different if there was a public apology out there and then you walked into this locker room. At least they'd have something from you. Now they got nothing. Now they got nothing. You're walking on in here. The plan is to make you the women's world champion. For doing what? For doing what? Because the company is losing major stars? Because they want to go somewhere else and find a different avenue in their career that they could possibly build on? You're bringing in someone like this to offset all of the talent that you're losing without a public apology. I find that to be just fucking batshit crazy, man. I don't get it. I don't really understand it. How things would be different from a fan perspective. How things would be different from a locker room perspective. At least an apology would have been out there, and people could make their own determinations on whether they believe it or whether they think she's full of shit. But at least it's out there. At least it's out there. Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace reportedly pushed back on the idea of working with Tessa Blanchard. Jordynne Grace has been a model employee. She's one of the nicest people that you could probably ever meet, man. She's come through House of Glory a couple times. I haven't interacted with her. Actually, I have interacted with her. I interviewed her for House of Glory many years ago. She's fucking great. The sweetest and nicest person. Unbelievable. The fact that you are asking Tessa to come on in and then asking Jordynne to put her over and make her the world champion. After she said, you know, this doesn't work for me, man. I'm not for this. Anybody else, man? Can we do anybody else? Someone like that has busted their back, that has given you legitimately everything, that has stayed with you longer than she really had to, giving you everything, made that division what it is, made that division one of the best in all of pro wrestling as far as how people perceive it. A locker room leader that is going to be gone in a couple of weeks to WWE, going to be sorely missed. That's how you treat her? That's how you go about doing business with one of your most loyal stars, maybe ever. I find that to be doing Jordynne Grace dirty, man. I don't really stand behind that whatsoever. If Jordynne doesn't want to do something, she should be at a position that gives her the right not to do it, and you should be fucking okay with it. You should be absolutely, all right, man, let's do something else. We'll go in a different direction. Drop the title to somebody else. But Tessa, who hasn't apologized to anybody, you want her to come on in, and you want Jordynne to do the job of putting Tessa over. I understand putting others over on your way out, but this is not the right way to do that, man. It's not. I find that to be a fucking slap in the face, a disrespectful one with a fucking swift kick of Jordynne Grace in the ass out the door. Goodbye. You're going to WWE. Goodbye. We knew you were going to WWE for months. This is now your punishment for it. I don't understand that. And then the Tessa Blanchard, we're bringing her in because they want to offset and compensate for the potential departure of Speedball Mike Bailey, Jordynne Grace, and Josh Alexander. You're trading those three for Tessa Blanchard. What about building from within? There's nobody else on the independent circuit that you want to build upon. Listen, man, all sports franchises and all sports teams go through a phase where they got a great stacked roster or a lineup or a fucking starting lineup, whatever. And then they, over time, don't have that same starting lineup, and they have to go through a rebuilding phase. I'm not going to say TNA is going through a rebuilding phase, but you're losing some pretty top-tier guys here, and woman. It's all right to go and scour the independent circuit, bring someone on in who's got fucking super potential, and start building them up as your next Speedball Mike Bailey, or your next Jordynne Grace, or your next Josh Alexander. Why do we have to go to the most toxic of situations and use controversy to get ahead here? I don't really get it. None of what I said here would really matter in the context that I'm making it matter if there was a fucking public apology. That's it. That's all she had to do, and she didn't do it. So I don't know why we're rewarding her with Jordynne Grace in the TNA Women's Knockout Championship, if that is truly the plan. Also, what does this do to TNA and their big venue tour of 2025? Los Angeles, New York. They just announced UBS Arena here on Long Island. It's a big fucking place. TNA is going to sell out the UBS Arena? I don't really think so. But you bringing in Tessa Blanchard could potentially harm any of those shows from being bigger because of it. Now, Tessa Blanchard coming on in, how many fans are going to say, well, I can't support this company. I'm not going to support this company bringing this person in on here, racial slurs, bullying behavior, this and that, no apology. How many people are going to throw their hands up in the air and say, I'm done with TNA? I just got off the phone with Jesse an hour ago. You know what he told me? If I was watching and still covering TNA and they brought Tessa Blanchard in, I would stop covering TNA and stop watching TNA. Can't get any more genuine than that. Guy loves pro wrestling just like the rest of us. How many TNA fans are going to think that? The diehard fans may not give a shit, but the semi-regular casual viewers who tune in every week, who know of the situation and know of Tessa Blanchard, if they want to get on in and start enjoying TNA and they look at this situation and the company doing Jordynne Grace dirty and then bringing Tessa Blanchard on in, not giving a shit what the locker room and the roster feels, how many of you are going to throw your hands up in the air and say, stop watching? It's a very dicey situation, but it's certainly a decision here in 2024 as we close the door on 2024. I don't really get it. But one thing remains certain. An apology should have been stated back 4 years ago. We haven't gotten that. We're still talking about the fucking apology. That never came. And now you want to bring her on in here as if nothing fucking happened. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let me know down in the comment section below how you feel about this situation. Great wrestler. I swear to God, man, I wish her nothing but the best. I hope she kills it. But as far as a company decision to do that for the TNA locker room and Jordynne Grace in this story, what a fucking shit show, man. She does not deserve that at all. Nobody there does. Now, did she apologize personally to these people? We don't know. But it's all about perception in the public eye, man. The public knows one thing and one thing only. They know where you left off. They don't know anything else. The jury's out, man. The jury's out. Social media and the jury is out. They made a decision on you, and that decision is final. You think coming back 4 years later is going to change that fact? Make the absence makes the heart grow fonder. No. Not in this case, man. Not in this case whatsoever. She should be ashamed of herself, and a public apology, even if it comes now, is too little too late.